Even Federer had to pull up to watch Eala. That's how phenomenal she has been over this last week and a bit. But Ayala's run is done. She is out of Wimbledon. She showed fight, she showed grit, she showed determination. But today was just the beginning of something special. Big shout out to Jasmine Paolini, who's into another quarterfinal at Wimbledon. She beat Eala in 3 unbelievable sets of tennis with momentum going back and forth, and she just edged it out.
Wimbledon rolled out the velvet rope, then realized the loudest guests packed up and went home before dessert. That is the bizarre conversation swirling around Wimbledon after Alex Eala's exit, as fans began questioning whether the tournament suddenly lost some of its electricity. Was one rising star really capable of changing the mood of an entire Grand Slam, or has the internet turned a great tennis story into an even bigger legend? Stay with us, because this gets surprisingly wild.
Alex, congratulations. Iga was in here a bit ago, and she was saying that she was struggling returning your serve, especially when it got slower.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering if you noticed that at all tactically, that sometimes the slower serves can throw off the rhythm of an opponent, and it's something you can use as a weapon, even if it's not a powerful weapon.
Yes, I have never really been the biggest server in comparison to a lot of the girls here. So I do my best to use my serve as an advantage. You know, I think I have a lot of other strengths.
It started feeling less like a tennis tournament and more like the world's biggest Filipino family gathering. Every time Alex Eala walked through the gates of Wimbledon, the atmosphere changed in a way that even seasoned tennis fans struggled to explain.
Champion on tennis's biggest stage is a monumental feat for any 21-year-old player. Dude, we keep forgetting that this girl is only 21 years old. Actually, it's easy to forget because of how mature she appears to be in interviews. Also, a historic first for the Philippines. With this victory, Eala became the first Filipino player in the Open era.
Flags appeared from every corner of the grounds. Cheers echoed across practice courts that normally attracted only a handful of spectators, and ordinary first-week matches suddenly carried the energy of a Grand Slam final.
Shout out to Eva for her comment here. She says, Alex Eala is exactly what tennis needs. And Eva, I couldn't agree more. Although Alex Eala's run at this year's Wimbledon came to an end today at the hands of Jasmine Paolini in the round of 16, she still has so much to be proud of and so much to look forward to. As you've probably heard by now, Alex Eala's win over the defending champion Iga Swiatek put her in the history books as the first person from the Philippines to ever make the second week of a Grand Slam.
By the time her remarkable journey finally came to an end, something unexpected happened. The conversation around Wimbledon was no longer focused solely on who was still competing.
Eala, I'm rooting for you. Keep the Filipino wave going. There's something about her representation that I really, really like. It just, something is very positive about seeing how many flags come out for her, how many people are tweeting and viewing her stuff on YouTube and all kind of things. I just enjoy it, you know? It's a different flavor. It's a different spice in the pot. And I like her game. She's like Eala is like a Angelique Kerber of the current that I can root for.
Instead, people began talking about the player who had already left and how one young woman had somehow become one of the tournament's biggest attractions. That says everything about how extraordinary Alex Eala's rise has been. Only a few years ago, she was viewed as a promising junior with tremendous potential. Today, she is one of the most recognizable new faces in women's tennis, and her historic run at Wimbledon proved that she belongs on the sport's grandest stage. Eala became the first Filipino player to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam, stunning defending champion Iga Swiatek along the way before eventually falling to Jasmine Paolini in a thrilling 3-set battle. Even in defeat, she left center court with something that cannot be measured by rankings alone. She had earned the admiration of tennis fans across the globe and inspired celebrations stretching thousands of miles away in the Philippines, where massive public viewing parties stayed packed throughout her unforgettable run.
Tennis Weekly here, and Alexandra Eala creating more history on the tennis court. She is the first player from the Philippines to reach week 2 at a major in the Open era. And Chris, I'm not going to lie, the reaction, the buzz, the support for Eala, it's on a scale I don't think I've ever seen before.
I've never seen anything like it either. I think the amount of attention she gets, the buzz that she generates is absolutely huge. I think it's bigger than some of the top players, the number ones in the sport.
Perhaps the most fascinating part of the story was that none of this appeared to be manufactured. There was no elaborate marketing campaign convincing people to follow Alex Eala. Nobody needed to tell Filipino fans that history might be unfolding before their eyes. They recognized it immediately. Every victory became another reason to wake up before sunrise, gather around televisions with family members, or squeeze into sports bars and community watch parties wearing the Philippine flag with enormous pride. Wimbledon may have been taking place in London, but for millions of Filipinos around the world, it felt strangely close to home. That incredible support became impossible to ignore inside the All England Club. Practice sessions that would normally pass quietly suddenly attracted crowds several rows deep. Volunteers, security staff, and tournament organizers quickly discovered that whenever Alex's name appeared on the schedule, far more people showed up than anyone initially expected.
I think being a competitive athlete, especially at this level in general, of course it comes with pressure, but everybody has pressure built into their lives at one point. And look at the everyday Filipino, my parents who have put food on the table for me and my brother and who have sacrificed so much. I can't imagine the pressure that they've been through. All the parents and everybody, providing for their...
Fans patiently waited for hours simply to watch her hit routine forehands and backhands during practice, proving that the excitement surrounding her extended well beyond official matches. It was not simply the result of patriotic support. Tennis analysts had spent months explaining why Eala had become one of the most intriguing young players on tour. She does not rely on overwhelming power or thunderous serves capable of ending points instantly. Instead, her game revolves around movement, intelligence, anticipation, and remarkable determination. She refuses to surrender rallies that appear lost, chases down balls that many players would abandon, and repeatedly forces opponents into playing one extra shot. Those qualities have made her one of the most entertaining defensive players among the sport's rising generation, while her confidence has grown dramatically with every major tournament she has played. That steady improvement became obvious throughout the 2026 season.
Victories like this, they are the start of, what could be something really, really special here. And I just think it's a great story. And I think what's interesting is she's in the right part of the draw, Joel, for it to go even further.
She is indeed. Do you see her as a genuine contender? Personally, I feel if you're the person who's dumping out the defending champion, then you have to be in with a shout for the title. And I do think the draw does help her. But Chris, what do you think? Do you think she's a genuine contender now?
After establishing herself inside the world's elite rankings, she consistently reached the latter stages of prestigious tournaments and demonstrated that her breakthrough performances were anything but accidental. By the time Wimbledon arrived, analysts no longer viewed her as a dangerous outsider capable of producing one surprise result. Instead, they viewed her as a genuine threat to some of the biggest names in women's tennis, and she rewarded that confidence by eliminating one of the tournament favorites in spectacular fashion. Her victory over Swiatek completely transformed the women's draw. Suddenly, television broadcasts that might have focused on established champions shifted toward the smiling 21-year-old representing the Philippines. International media rushed to tell the story of the teenager who had become one of Wimbledon's biggest headlines almost overnight. Fans who had never watched Alex before suddenly wanted to know everything about her journey, her training, and the remarkable support following her around every tournament.
The run that Eala had over this last week was something special and something that she can truly be proud of and something that she's going to build upon. We've seen the birth of a superstar in this game, and I'm convinced of that. The way that she played, the determination she plays with, the amount of people that are behind her watching her play. She's box office, but all in all, it's a week that she can be proud of, and it's a week that she can build up on. 2026 has been a building year, and she is building so well.
One of the most refreshing aspects of her rise has been the way she has handled growing fame. While many athletes naturally become larger public personalities as their success increases, Alex continues to carry herself with the relaxed attitude of someone who simply enjoys competing. Fellow players have repeatedly described the friendly atmosphere developing among younger competitors on tour, emphasizing that friendships away from the court make life easier during a demanding international schedule. Eala has quietly become part of that new generation, building relationships across the locker room without losing sight of the fierce competitiveness required once the first serve begins. That balance has only strengthened her popularity. Fans appreciate athletes who remain approachable even as expectations continue to rise. Every autograph session, every practice appearance, and every interview reinforced the impression that Alex had not changed despite becoming one of tennis's fastest rising stars. In an era where social media often encourages carefully crafted celebrity images, her authenticity has become one of her greatest strengths.
And I think that comes down to the fact that she is from a nation where there is only one player. It is her, and she is pioneering. So I think she's getting the whole of the country excited about tennis and into tennis for the first time, probably. And I mean, what an amazing thing to see. She's such a great ambassador for the sport. And I also think the fact that she has been a Rafa baby, you know, she is from the Rafa Nadal Academy. Maybe the Spanish audience are also getting supportive of her, as well as now a global audience. But Joel, is she now even more hyped than Fonseca?
I think so, and I think she's now got the tennis to back it up.
When her Wimbledon run finally ended against Paolini, disappointment naturally spread throughout the Philippines. There were no celebrations after the final point, only pride mixed with the understandable sadness that accompanies the conclusion of a remarkable sporting adventure. Yet even that defeat seemed to highlight just how much she had already accomplished. Reuters reported that thousands gathered at public viewing events in Manila to support her fourth-round match, illustrating how deeply invested the country had become in her success. Interestingly, conversations following her elimination focused less on the scoreboard and more on the atmosphere she had created throughout the tournament. Fans on social media remarked that one of Wimbledon's most captivating stories had reached its conclusion. Broadcasters reflected on how frequently her matches generated extraordinary attention, while commentators praised the passion of Filipino supporters who transformed every appearance into something resembling a home match, despite being thousands of miles from Manila. That emotional connection may ultimately become Alex Eala's greatest contribution to tennis.
This is not the first time we've seen Alex Eala defeat Iga Swiatek, the person who ironically handed her diploma when she graduated from the Rafael Nadal Academy. I was put on to Alex Eala's potential impact on the sport when she defeated Iga Swiatek in the quarterfinals of the Miami Open in 2025 to advance to her first Masters 1000 semifinal. Ever since that moment, I have not seen a tournament in which the Filipino fans didn't show up in droves for Eala. In closing, and in reference to what Eva said in her comment,
every sport depends on athletes capable of attracting entirely new audiences, and Eala appears to be doing exactly that. She has introduced countless young Filipinos to professional tennis while simultaneously reminding the sport that excellence can emerge from places not traditionally associated with Grand Slam champions. Her success has expanded tennis rather than simply adding another talented player to an already crowded field. Tournament organizers have undoubtedly noticed the pattern as well. Wherever Alex competes, attendance around her matches and practice courts consistently exceeds expectations. Fans arrive early, remain long after matches conclude, and enthusiastically follow every stage of her tournament journey. That type of sustained interest is incredibly valuable because it reflects genuine emotional investment rather than temporary curiosity. Her growing popularity also illustrates how dramatically tennis has evolved into a truly global sport. For decades, conversations about future champions revolved around a relatively small group of traditional tennis nations. Alex Eala has challenged that assumption. Every victory she records sends a message to young athletes throughout Southeast Asia that the distance between local courts and Wimbledon may be far shorter than anyone previously imagined.
And like I said, I think representation is so important, but I think representation goes beyond nationality, it goes beyond it's so multidimensional.
Yeah.
That representation is exactly what you said. It's being able to see yourself in someone else, and I think if I'm able to do that for other people, then I'd be really happy.
Yeah, not to mention, I think we so oftentimes talk about tennis as this singular sport that you go through by yourself. And it was so clear today how much and how many you were carrying with you.
Looking ahead, the possibilities seem even more exciting than the achievements already behind her. She has demonstrated that she can compete with Grand Slam champions, perform under enormous pressure, and inspire millions while doing so. Those are qualities that cannot be taught through coaching sessions or improved simply by spending additional hours on the practice court. They develop through experience, resilience, and an unwavering belief that bigger stages belong to those willing to embrace them. As Wimbledon moves forward and another champion eventually lifts the famous trophy, Alex Eala leaves London with something equally significant. She arrived as one of tennis's brightest prospects and departed as one of its most compelling new stars. Her remarkable run reminded the sporting world that history does not always announce itself with championship celebrations. Sometimes it begins with a young player carrying the hopes of an entire nation, filling practice courts with passionate supporters and proving that one unforgettable fortnight can permanently change the future of a sport.